Good morning. Good morning. Good morning and welcome. How everybody doing this morning? Look, I'm gonna tell y'all real quick. Don't despise small beginnings because it's in the small beginnings that's where your breakthrough lies. Don't despise small beginnings, and I'm gonna tell you why. Just give me a second. Okay, now it's working. The sky side is so beautiful. It's beautiful out here this morning. Faith doesn't stop in empty skies. Let me tell you something. I was reading in Kings this morning. Elijah sent his servant Ahab out there. I want y'all to follow me real close. He says, I feel the abundance of rain. I need you to go out there and look. This is where faith comes in too. Ahab come back and says, no, I don't see nothing. Ain't nothing out there. He said, go look again. He sent him out there six times. And he came back and he says, look, Elijah, I done been out there 6 times. I don't see nothing. Elijah said, go again. He was still activating his faith, even in the empty skies, even if he didn't see nothing. But he said he felt an abundance of rain coming, although he didn't see it. He felt it, and he was telling his servant, "Go look again." And on the 7th time, he came back in. Elijah said, "What did you see?" He said, "I saw a cloud the size of a man's hand." And then that little cloud carried the breakthrough, and the breakthrough was the rain. So what I'm saying this morning is you may be on your 6th try. You may be on your 6th prayer. You may be on your 6th look and ready to quit. Don't quit. Go look again. Keep praying. So you're activating your faith. Even though you don't see, you may be in your 5th, 6th try, but keep going because in that 7th try, that's where your breakthrough is coming, and it's in the small things. And don't despise the smallness, because in small things lies greatness. I'm reminded to tell you of, I think I shared this with you guys before, when I was applying for this job, and I was like, God help me this morning. And they only had, I think it was 12 full-time positions. No, they had 7 full-time positions and 5 part-time positions. And I walked on that property, and I walked and I prayed, and I started claiming the job. And I was telling everybody, this job is mine. This job is mine. Everybody said, oh, it is. Yeah, this job is mine. When I get down there and go through the interview, Barry in the HR, he was interviewing me, and I said, there's no need for you to interview anybody else. I said, because God said the job is mine. He said, well, Veronica, I can't promise you anything. He said, because we have so many other applicants. We had over 300 applicants, I believe is what he said. I don't care how many applicants you got. The job is mine. Now, remind you, they only had, I think it was 7 full-time positions, and then they had the 5 flex team positions. He said, well, we may offer you a flex team. No, you offer me a full-time job. Don't despise small beginnings. So I go back to my other job, and I was so sure, just like Elijah was so sure that the rain was coming because he felt it. He said, I feel an abundance of rain coming. I said, I went back and I put in my 2 weeks notice, and my supervisor, she told me her name was Sheila. She says, Veronica, are you sure you want to do that? Because have they told you? I said, no, they ain't told me nothing. I said, but I know the job is mine. And everybody on my job was looking at me, and they was like, oh, you mighty bold to keep saying that the job is yours. And listen, you may get a part-time job. Oh, girl, what you gonna do if you get a part-time job? I said, nothing, because I'm not gonna get no part-time job. I'm getting a full-time job. Well, as time would have it, we was in there. I made it to the last interview, and one of the girls, she was She had come in from the Navy. She was like, they offer the full-time positions to military, ex-military before they will civilians, and you're a civilian. So you probably, she's counting up everybody that was in there. She said, you probably won't get one. She said, if they hire you, they're going to give you a flex job. I looked at her, I said, no, they're not either. So what have you? I go back, and what do you know? They hired me. Look, this is my 6th try. They done hired me for a flex team job. I said, Bear, I said, that ain't what God said. I said, God said full-time. He said, well, Veronica, are you going to take it? He said, because, you know, that's all we have left is everybody else feel, you know, their qualifications was more than yours. And I said, well, I guess that's my way in, but God said full-time. So I guess I have to work a part-time, the flex job before I get to full-time job. Here's my little cloud in the sky, okay? I go back to work, and I was embarrassed to tell everybody that they had hired me for a part-time job because everybody was like, you crazy for putting in your 2 weeks notice and da-da-da-da-da. So I came back and I told everybody, and I was like, well, you know, I got hired. They was like, oh, you got a full-time job? I said, no, they only hired me for a flex team job. So here they go. They started laughing at me. They said, girl, you crazy. You don't put in your 2 weeks notice and they gonna hire you for full-time, for part-time. Ha, 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 ha. Blah, 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 blah. Now this was my 6th time, look, going back out looking towards the sky. I said, hold up a minute. I said, God said full-time. That's what he said. He said full-time, and that's what I'm gonna get, full-time. And I said, everybody that's laughing, I'm gonna get the last laugh because he said full-time. And I promise you, in that moment, I really believe that was my 6th time for me to go back out and look up in the sky, for my 7th time. So that was that small beginning, that little flex job, right? How about that afternoon? They called, it was Nestle Frozen Food. They called where I was working and had them to have me to call them right away. When I called them, Barry said, Veronica, I don't know what happened this morning. Now, mind you, and I was telling everybody that morning that I was going to get the last laugh. He said, I don't know what happened this morning. He says, but a full-time position came open and you were next in line. He says, now, the best thing about this position is that it pays more than the other full-time positions. Now, what if I would have despised that little flex position they offered me in the beginning and got mad and said, you know what? I thought you said full-time, God, and then offered me a part-time job. No, my faith kept working. My faith kept working. And I kept saying, no, he said full-time. And I do believe, and I really want to believe, and in that moment when I was telling everybody, but God still said full-time, that he said, okay, let me go ahead and show up for her because my girl keep piping me up. Let me go ahead and in this little small flex team job. See, this is where the little hand is. The cloud the size of a hand, a man's hand, was that flex job that they offered me. But in it was a bigger paying job. So don't despise your small beginnings. You may be in your 6th try. You may be in your 6th look. Because let me give you some context with this. It's in 1 Kings where Elijah sent Ahab, his servant, out there. He told him, he said, I feel an abundance of rain. Now go out there, because it was a drought. It was a long drought. He said, I feel an abundance of rain. I want you to go out there and look at the cloud, look at the sky and tell me what you see. Ahab kept coming. Look, Elijah, I know you're the prophet, but ain't nothing up there. There's no sign of no rain. The sun is shining. There's no sign. I'm kind of paraphrasing. He said, go again. He sent him out there 6 times. And every time he sent him, he did not doubt that that rain was coming. So what am I saying to you all this morning? No matter what you're up against, no matter what you're going through, you may be in your 6th try. Go again. Go look again. Go ask again. Which reminds me of this. I got turned down for a loan. This was years ago. I got turned down for a loan. God put it in my spirit, go back. I shared this with you all a couple of weeks ago. He said, go back. I said, they already told me no. 2 places. Because he wanted to help reestablish my credit. I said, and already told me no. He's go back. Went back. And when I walked in, I said, God, who do I need to talk to? I need you to talk to their supervisor. So I said, okay, but when I go, I need you to speak through me because, see, they done already told me no. Now they looking at me like I'm crazy. Go in and speak to their supervisor. And the supervisor looked at me and said, listen, I don't normally do this. Go back. I'm telling you to go back. He said, I don't normally do this, but I'm going to go ahead and extend you a line of credit. So again, you may be in your sixth try. You may be in your sixth look. You still may be praying. Keep praying. That's your faith. You're activating your faith. Go back out on that seventh time. All right? There's abundance in your small beginnings. Bigger things are lying there. All right? I think one of the things that I'm trying to convey this morning is that Elijah didn't stop when his servant saw nothing. He kept saying, go again. And that was Elijah's faith being activated. Keep your faith activated no matter what you're up against, no matter what you're going through. Thank you, Jeffrey. Keep your faith activated. Keep speaking it. Listen, even act it out. Even act it out. My cousin told me, she says, Veronica, she says, listen, she says, she got her a place to stay, and she had everything but a dinette table. And she said, I'm gonna act like I got my dinette table. I'm not gonna wait till I get it. She said, I don't have the money to get it. She said, but I'm just gonna pretend. See, foolish things God will confound the wise. Let me tell you something. She says, I'm gonna act like I got my dinette set. I'm gonna go in there. She went in there and she sat down. She said, but look, I was leaning up against the wall. I pretend like I had my nice dinette set in front of me. And she said, I set my imaginary cup there, my plate here. She said, but I had like a styrofoam plate and I'm leaning up against the wall, V. And she said, but I was pretending. She said, I was in my kitchen, in my dining area, and I was pretending like I was sitting at my table. She said, I visualized my table there, and I visualized myself sitting there. She said, when I got through eating my little sandwich and chips, we laughed. She said, when I got through eating my little sandwich and chips, she said, I went and got my dishcloth, and I went over there and I wiped off my table, and I slid my chairs underneath my table. Listen, it may sound foolish to you, but God will take the foolish things to confound the wise. This is what I'm telling you. This is going to help you. She said, Veronica, I did it for 5 days straight. She said on that 5th day, she said, I got a knock on my door. And she said somebody was there and said, listen, I want to bless you with a table. She said, Veronica, won't just indicate it was a brand new dinette set. T, good morning, T. Don't despise small beginning. Don't despise where you at. You got to see it before you see it. I said that before. You got to see it before you see it. In your 7th time, that's when everything is going to change. In your 7th look, that's when everything is going to change. I ain't talking to you. I'm talking to myself. In your 7th look, keep praying. I know it looks crazy right now. I know it looks like all oppositions is up against you, but keep looking. Keep your expectation. Keep speaking life over that thing. Whether it's a job, whether it's a home, whether it's a vehicle, whether it's finances, whether it's your health, see it before you see it. Don't walk away before you see your cloud. What if Elijah would have believed that, okay, he told Ahab, okay, you don't see nothing. It ain't nothing up there. Go again. And on the 5th time, he said, Ahab come back. Because when people don't have the faith you have, they be looking at you like you crazy. Look, Elijah, there ain't nothing out there. The sun is still shining. No cloud in sight. What if Elijah would have said, all right, well, maybe I got it wrong this time. All right, you have a great day. What if he said, maybe I got it wrong this time? But he didn't. But he did. He stood on his faith. He activated his faith, and he was like, listen, go again. Go again. And when Ahab walked back through the door, he said, now tell me what you see. What did you see? Ahab said, I see something small, but it looks like it's the size of a man's hand. That's what it looks like. Elijah goes, that's the abundance. That's where the rain is. Don't play. You got to see it before you see it. And then, a mighty rain came in that small cloud that was the size of a man's hand. So your abundance lies in something small. Don't despise small beginnings. Even with myself, I was sitting there thinking as I was coming here this morning, everything seems so small right now. But my mentor told me, she says, Veronica, don't despise your small beginnings, because there's greatness in your small beginnings. In your small beginnings, you can learn, you can make mistakes. And people are very forgiving in your small beginnings. Don't despise it. That's where growth lies. So this morning, let me encourage you. Don't despise your small beginnings. If you're in your fifth look and it looks like, listen, you done went the first time, the second, and the third, and no breakthrough is coming, go back and look again. He said, I know I don't see it, but I'm gonna go look again. I don't know what look you're in. I don't know what place you're in, but keep your expectation there. You may be praying for a situation, such as myself, praying for a breakthrough, and that car looks like it gets darker before day. But I still say, this is your year, baby. This is your year. I keep speaking and I keep saying it, and I'm gonna keep believing. And honey, look like every time I say it, it get worse. It get worse. It get worse. But I'm gonna keep speaking and I'm gonna keep believing it. Because look at that cloud up there. Because that's my expectation. Because I know He's gonna show up. And I know when God do a thing, He don't halfway do it. And when God show up, He expedited. When His hand is on it, He expedited. He give you the extra strength to go that much further. You may be in your sixth try. Try again. I know you say, man, I done kept try again. I can try again and keep your expectations there. Just keep trying. Keep looking. Because your blessings is in that small cloud. And although it's small, there's greatness there. In that small cloud, it was an abundance of rain. What if your change is in that seventh look? What if? Listen, family, don't give up on your seventh time. That small sign you've been overlooking might be the sign of your breakthrough, maybe the start of your breakthrough. So if this message have spoke to you, drop a cloud in the comments below, or drop a prayer hands in the comments below. Share your story on how God showed up for you in a small way, and let's encourage one another today. So with that being said, if you have to go back and listen to the video, go back and listen to it. It's only here to encourage you. And if you're watching this on a replay, may God bless you. Because I'm telling you, it's in your seventh look. It's in your seventh try. In that small cloud that's the size of a man's hand lies great abundance. So with that being said, you all have a great day. Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate you. And until the next time, in the meantime, I see you all on the next live. You all be blessed.